Alright, American Petroleum Institute, specification 6A ISO 10423, equipment marking requirements, general equipment shall be marked with the exterior strip of the table, then the table joints of the making shall contain with the designation ISO 10423, temperature rating of the material of the product, specification level, the performance requirement level of the table, the manufacturer month, the year, manufacturer's name or mark, other marking specified in the table 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Marking for the features of the design if the product is not applicable. Marking method to make sure that using low stress, stop, vibration, rounded V stamps acceptable. Conventional sharp V stamping is acceptable. The low stress area with the outside diameter flange. Sharp V stamping is not permitted if the high stress areas only if the subsequent stresses are relieved at 1100 degrees Fahrenheit minimum. With the method of marking on nameplates is optional. Nameplates are not required if the information is permanently marked on the body of the connector. Hidden marking required on the connector outside diameter would be covered by clamps or other parts of the connector. Assembly shall be stamped in a visible location near the connector. Thread type marking according to the ISO 11960 shall be used to define line pipe LP casing, short thread STC casing, long thread LC casing, buttress BC casing, extreme line XL, tubing non-upset NU, tubing external upset EU, sizing marking of size shall include a nominal size if applicable to restrict oversized bore, welded metal overlay if the equipment metal overlay corrosion resistant ring groove. The ring gasket type number should be followed with a corrosion resistant or A. This is a corrosion resistant alloy. This is a corrosion resistant alloy SST. This is a authentic stainless steel. And show the marking requirement, location marking, welding equipment, connector fittings, casing, tube hangers, loose connectors, valve chokes, and actuators. You have ISO 104023, temperature class rating, the material class, production service classification level, performance requirement level, the nominal size, thread size, threaded pipe products, and outlet size connectors, rated work pressure, green gasket type, name and date of manufacturer's name and number, name and mark, serial number, hardness test values. Alright, hardness tests. Hardness tests are required of bodies and bonds and outlet connectors. The actual valve of the hardness test shall be tested. Stamped on the part adjacent to the test location. Permissible hardness marking is to be covered with other components after assembly. Other end connectors marked with the OEC following the site of the pressure rating. Hub end connectors marked by ISO 13533 following the size and pressure rating. Welded head equipment, casing head, housing, casing head spools, tube heading spools, crossover spools, multi-stage head housing, multi-stage spools, and adapter spacer spools shall be marked when specified at table 27 and 28. The bore size shall proceed with the word bore. Connectors, fittings, over connectors, tube heading adapters, top connectors, T's, crossings, fluid sampling devices, adapters. Spatial marking shown when the table 27 and 29. Performance requirement marking is not required for the connecting of the fittings. Casing tube hangers, marking mandrel hangers. Mandrel hangers have different top-bottom threads. Bottom thread shall be listed on the bottom thread first, followed by the top thread restriction plus the word top. Any hanger that shall be installed upside down shall have the word down into the down over the proper installed. Marking on the rate worked with the pressure load rating optional. Mandrel hangers. Mandrel hangers shall be marked and specified with the table 27 and 30. Marking of slip hangers. Any hanger will be installed with upside down shall have the word down on the end of the face down hole with the proper marking of the rated work pressure load rating or optional slip hangers. Slip hangers should be marked and specified with the table 27 and 30. Additional marking welded head equipment. Marking bottom preparation. Nameplate bottom end outside the diameter connection. The minimum vertical braid name body each of the connector outside diameter. Table 29. Additional marking connectors and fitting. Marking pack off casing size, name, location of the body on the outside of the connector. Minimum vertical plate name outside the body each end connector outside diameter. Table 30. Additional marking of hangers show the location mandrel hangers and slip hangers. Minimum bore back pressure valve style model casing tubing size rate work pressure loaded rating information. Minimum vertical bore orientational down if required. Alright, valves and chokes. Multiple valves, actuated valves, prepared actuator, check valve. The chokes shall be marked when specified at table 27 and 31. Additional markings for multiple valve, multiple labels designated with the nominal bore side of the decreasing and 3/16 through 16 through 2/9/16 by 2/19/16. For valves having equal bore size, acceptable to either the nominal bore size followed by the number of the bores. Valve hand wheels should be marked with the direction movement of the opening valve of the nominal side of the maximum or force. Chokes choke shall be marked with a nominal size of the maximum orifice specified in 10.933. Choke beans shall be marked with a specified table 32 with the orifice size of the manufacturer's name and the mark with the on its outside dimmer N. Valve preparated actuators marking level of the V ISO 1042-3. Serve with the underwater safety valves. Safety valves meaning the requirements to 1020 shall be marked with the letters SSV or USV for the following ISO 10423. Additional marking over the valve and chokes shows the location of valve and chokes, marking flow direction and directional valves only, and those are on the body of the valve and choke. Direction of the movement open on the handle valve and choke. Bore size, multiple bore size only with a connector outside diameter. Table 60 and 61. Table 32, marking on choke beans. Marking on the outside diameter on the end for the manufacturer's name mark and the size of the nominal orifice size of the bean size. Loose connectors, flange threaded, and other end connectors and welded neck and blind connectors, thread connectors, adapter connectors, base connectors shall be marked. Specified in Table 27, the performance requirement level of the marking is not required for the loose connectors. Other the equipment actuators should be marked when specified in Table 27, the making of the temperature rating material class of the product specification level applies. Retained fluid actuators only and bonds attached for the actuators should be considered part of the valve marking purpose, marking electrical actuators beyond the separate nameplate with the actuator shall include but not limited to the area, classification, voltage, frequency, amperage, starting and running, and the motor installation requirements. Assemblage actuator and valves prepared with the actuators. Valve prepared with the actuators assembled with the actuators should be tagged with the information specified in Table 34. Ring gaskets shall be marked within specified in Table 32. 3. Ring gasket materials identified with the following marks: soft iron D4, carbon and low steel alloy steel S4, 3014 S3014, 316 stainless steels S316 4, nickel alloy UNS N08825 or 8025 4, other corrosion resistant alloy material UNS number 4. Table 33. Marking a ring gasket. Date of the manufacturer, manufacturer's name and the mark, ring gasket type of the number of material on the outside of the diameter of the gasket. Stud and non-stud marking. Studs marked with the conformance ASME A193, A320, A453 is applicable with corrosion resistant alloys. Material stud shall be metal stamped with a unified number. UNS number. There is not available alloy trade name, and the yield strength shall be marked. Nut marking nuts should be conformed to the ASTM A194 impact testing mark. Impact testing temperature is different from those specified by the ASTM specification. The actual test temperature, degrees Celsius, degrees in Fahrenheit, shall be metal stamped directly on the grade required by the ASTM specification. Impact test pressure, temperatures in degree in Celsius or degrees in Fahrenheit for corrosion resistant alloy material shall be metal stamped directly within the corrosion resistant alloy marking. Alright, 8 and 9 Christmas trees. Assembled Christmas trees should be tagged with the information in Table 34, the marking, the date of final acceptance, and the name of the assembler and location on the tag or nameplate. Valve removal plugs. Valve removal plugs should be marked with the ISO 1042-3 with the following nominal size of the VR 69 or 10,000 psi working pressure, HP VR at 20,000 psi working pressure, material class, manufacturer's name, mark, and a minimum. You have the bull plugs that should be marked with the ISO 10423, followed by the nominal size, material classification, and manufacturer specific name, mark as minimal. Bull plugs may be marked exposed in flat if the hex is applicable. Bull plugs with internal hex may be marked on smaller non-exposed hex. 812 back pressure valves. Back pressure valves should be marked with the ISO 10423, followed with the nominal size working pressure, material class, and the manufacturer name or mark as minimum. 9. Storing and shipping.